Hi everyone, it's Irina from Educa, and we are here with Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm from Manchester in England, and I'm an English teacher at Glory School.
Yeah, and also Chris was a student last year at Educa Russian language school. Then he decided to stay here. So my main question is, why, Chris?
Why Russia?
Yeah.
So back in the UK, I have some friends who are from St. Petersburg, and I've done a lot of travelling, through many different parts of the world, and throughout most of Europe. I decided that maybe to learn another language would be better to learn one that my friends speak as well. So I came to St. Petersburg, and I've never really been anywhere else like St. Petersburg. So I decided ultimately to come here to work.
So your main idea was to stay here and work, right? Okay. The main idea of coming to a country is to experience something new, like to learn about the culture. So what was your experience? Do you remember something?
Yeah, I actually remember first coming to Russia was actually intimidating, because for some reason it's an intimidating place, but actually when I landed and started to meet people and started to come in the centre of St. Petersburg, it was completely the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was, of course Russians don't like to smile, but they are very friendly and will help you as much as they possibly can. And there's just a different atmosphere here. It's not quite Europe, it's not quite Asia, it's its own atmosphere, it's its own kind of place. It's really interesting.
So what do you think? Is it closer to Europe or Asia?
I think St. Petersburg side is definitely closer to Europe. But if you obviously the more further east you go into different cities like Kazan, where it's a completely different culture altogether, but it's still part of Russia, so there's nowhere else really like it. It's a really interesting place.
So you learned to speak Russian, maybe not that much, but still. How do you feel being a foreigner here? Does it feel difficult when you speak to a person in Russia? Like, do they speak English?
I say St. Petersburg is 50-50, but people can speak very basically. People usually recognise straight away that you're foreign. And if they speak English, they will try, or they'll speak slowly in Russian and help you out that way. I would say it definitely helps to learn a bit of Russian, especially if you want to travel places other than Moscow or St. Petersburg. But you don't need much, and I think people appreciate that you try to speak Russian as well.
By the way, how much Russian you use in your daily life here?
It's really just basics. If I go to shop, like asking for price or asking for check or whatever. And also it's good to know Russian people who speak English who can also help you. So Russian friends is definitely a bonus.
So you have Russian friends here?
Yeah, so I have some friends in St. Petersburg and some who moved to Moscow. So yeah, it's definitely, if you get local help or meet other expats, you really do need that if you want to come and live here, I think.
And where you can find Russian friends? Like, you should go somewhere? Or?
Yeah, so I mean, you can just meet them however you like to, but if you're into sports clubs, I've met through some sports clubs or speakers clubs or friends of friends, however you want. Usually whenever you're friends with a Russian, it automatically makes all their friends your friends. So that helps as well.
I think that Russians like to have a friend, like a foreign friend. Do you feel something, like some people who live in another country, they feel special there? Do you feel that too?
Maybe not special, but just as a part of the group, I suppose. Like, I don't feel awkward here. I just feel comfortable.
Maybe it was the wrong word. I mean that, like, when you're in Britain, you're just a Chris from Britain in Britain.
Yeah.
But when you're in Russia, how does it feel being in Russia?
Of course, yeah, you feel different. Like, yeah, you're 100% non-Russian, and people will take more care of you. Definitely, people like to be good hosts, shall we say? Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, the hospitality is really great here. Yeah, it's not a bad feeling to be foreign here. I don't think. Not that I found anyway.
Well, okay. Do you have any advice to people who want to move to Russia and maybe one day live here?
I would say definitely come and visit on maybe a longer visa to make sure it's definitely where you want to live. 100% you need to learn the language, at least to some degree. because otherwise you'll miss out on a whole side of life here that you need. And definitely be social when you are here. So go to, if you play sports, continue to play sports here, go to speakers clubs, schools, and just try and make a bit of a social circle, and it'll transform everything.
Very important thing is financial side. I forgot to ask it. Is it expensive in Russia?
No, if you're coming from places like the UK or from USA or from Europe, then yeah, Russia's not expensive. The difference in prices here for what you have to buy is incredibly different. So rent here is actually very cheap, especially in the centre, and also taxis, public transport is very good here. It's very easy to get, and it's very cheap. I think even for Russians it's very cheap for like taxis.
For Russians, not for everyone, but yeah, if in comparison with European countries, like where you cannot afford a taxi, when even if you're a rich person, you cannot afford it. In Russia, everyone gets a taxi for like £2. Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 euros per ride. It's very cheap. I agree. Yeah. Okay. So, do you have anything else to say?
No. Come visit Russia, but come in the summer because it's warmer.
Yeah, winters.
Yeah, if you don't like the snow, don't come. Yes.
I agree. Well, okay, thank you for watching.